when the reality of your the reality of your day-to-day activity does not reflect a bright future. I can assure you, without an actual plan for the future as to what it is that you want your life to be, your present reality will not change. Yes, things may seem like they're going in your direction. However, this is the best time for you to take the time and sit and reflect and think about what are some things that you could do to improve. Preparation for the future, it requires a lot of faith. It requires a lot of faith to prepare in an uncertain time. It takes courage to decide to want a better future when the present reality doesn't look promising at all. But this is what makes us human, right? As human beings, we face challenges in the past that we've overcome. I'm sure you have. Can you think of a time that when you were going through something that you felt like you were not going to make it through, but at the end of it all, you realize that the very thing that you went through, the challenges that you face, you had to go through them in order to become the person that you are now today. Now, anything new, any new challenges, new story that you face in your life, it's always going to feel like this one here, you don't see how you're going to get through it. But somehow, some way, we always seems to pull through. That's what humans do. In the process of preparation for a better future, you have to be optimistic, keep a positive attitude. Not that you avoiding the situation, but knowing your reality. But do not allow the reality of where you are to dictate the future that you're going to have. Every crisis create great opportunities. In every crisis, there's room for opportunity to succeed, opportunity to discover one's yourself, opportunity to do things that you would normally do, opportunity to maybe slow you down to think, to think beyond the norm, to think outside of yourself, and to allow your true self to manifest. Have you realized this? Another thing that I've seen from my experience, I remember when I was going through a rough time in my life to a point where I needed to exit out of life. And I talked about that in my book, where I remember going to the back abandoned building. I literally laid down on the floor and asked God that, what was the point of me living? Life is horrible and nothing I've done goes well. Nothing I'm doing is working. The people are taking advantage of me. Life is hard. Everywhere I turn, it feels like I was being suppressed by everything and everyone. So I wanted to exit out of life. I remember literally that as I was laying there and this bright idea come to my mind is that you could say, the voice of God or the spirit of God or the inner man, but I know it was something that was beyond myself. It was not something I've ever experienced in my life before. And I can literally hear a voice inside of my head saying this is going to prepare you for tomorrow. Because the tomorrow that you dream, the tomorrow that you desire, require you to go through this struggle, requires you to go through these challenges. It's not for you. Now I was like, what do you mean not for me? How can I've been carrying this burden and you trying to convince me this pain is not for me? Fast forward, I would say 5 years later, now I remember some people that was going through some challenges in their lives came to me and asked me a question about how to cope in life. And particularly, I had a friend who says that, you know what, I couldn't do life anymore because it's just so hard. And I began to share my story, how one day I was laying behind an abandoned building and I wanted to die, literally. And I joked about this. I said, man, I was too scared to take over my own life. And so I decided that I was going to make a deal with God. I said, look, you could go ahead and take my life because it's useless. As I share that piece of my life with the young man, and I could see a light. I could see something change in his face. Then I realized what their voice said to me prior to that meeting, and I could recall maybe 5 to 6 years later. I still remember that moment vividly, as if it had happened yesterday. The voice again spoke inside my head and said, "I told you." And so, whether this man was really serious about killing himself, but I think that the moment, the thought that I shared with him, the experience that I shared with him at that moment might have saved his life. I've often tell people, whatever you're going through in life, you have two options. When you're going through whatever it is that you're going through, you only have two options. The first option is to man up or woman up or to tough it up. Now, I know you probably saying, Paul, it's easier to say than done. I know it's easier to say than done. Every struggle, everything that comes to you, every challenges that you face in your life, every obstacles that you face are the direct results of who you are right now. Those are the things that pushes you to tap into a different source. Those were the emotions. Those emotions were the emotion that forces you to think outside of the box, to see yourself beyond what you were doing into what you're capable of doing. Actually, hardship, hard times help us to tap into our potential, even help us to discover ourselves. Now you ask me, why do I have to go through it? I don't know. We all go through struggles in life for different reasons. But I do know one thing. For whatever my reason is, whatever your reason is for going through the hardship or the hard time you're going through, it is for a purpose. And at the end of it, at the end of the day, is that you have to realize whatever that you're going through, you're not in it alone, and you are not going through it for you alone. Because along the way, you will meet someone that's facing a struggle, a challenge in their lives. You will be a voice of hope for that individual. Think about it. It's the price that you must pay. Think about the price that I must pay to get to the level to earn the right to help someone, to earn the right to save someone's life. Would you not want to go through it? Would you not want to experience what you're experiencing right now? Those emotions, those mixed feelings that you're experiencing right now because of hardship, because of the unknown? My advice to you is this. I want you to begin to think deep within yourself and allow the unknown, allow the uncertainty of this time to push you towards your purpose, towards your dream, towards your goal, towards your destiny. This is the time for you to begin to go deep within yourself and ask your Creator, what is my purpose? Which is the number one question of every human being. What is my purpose? What is my reason for being here? Now that you have the time in your hand, it's the right time for you to begin to reflect on that question a lot deeper, and don't leave that idea, that thought, until you discover what it is that you were born or designed to do. Because I believe we all were born and designed for a purpose and on purpose. But it's only you that can discover what their purpose is. I want you to remain focused. Not focus on what, the news people are saying. As a matter of fact, you need to cut off the news anyways. You have no business watching the news anyways. So why don't you just focus on picking up a book and read. Expand your knowledge. Learn a new language. Do something that you always wanted to do that you said that you didn't have the time to do. But now you do. You have the time. Why don't you pick up that idea that you left back in when you were 18 or 19 or 20 years old, where you felt that you were untouchable? Why don't you reactivate those feelings, those emotions, and begin to act on those ideas? Begin to, at least if you can physically do those things, some of the things that need to be done, but I believe you could do the most important thing, which is prepare, make a plan, write the vision, write it down, and take steps, make some calls, do some research, find out who you can connect with, find out who can help you with those things when we get out of this. Because I know eventually we will come out on top. Eventually this thing will come to pass, and when it do, where would you be at the end of it all?